All right, welcome to lesson number 8 in personality science of VP culture, where we are going to be focusing on another trait of personality science with the hope of helping everyone to feel valued on your team. So this is not actually a trait. We're going to be looking at how personality affects your entire team, how all the individual personalities on your team fit together to create your team, and how that affects the outcomes of your team. So one of the first things that you're going to need to do is get your personality chart together. Now, there's probably a PDF that you could download within this lesson that you can make a chart that will plot out each person, put all their names on there. You've been kind of doing this visually by standing in different locations, but it's really helpful for our team leader and for every member on the team to have a map of everyone else by the chart. So maybe put their initials in the different locations of where they are landing on their personality spectrum, either high or low, in each one of those 5 traits. And then you'll have an overall perspective of maybe you have a pattern where you have like a bunch of extroverts and only one introvert. You've got a bunch of people that are really agreeable and only one that's not, or maybe you have none. So you can find gaps and overlaps that you have, or do you have a very well-distributed team across all the personality traits? So these are all things that you're looking for when you map out your personality to see, do we have some glaring absences of a superpower that we don't have? So look for all of those different things. And we'll talk about the different makeups of teams and how that can affect your outcomes. So what do you bring personally to enhance your team outcomes? So look at this from a personal perspective, first of all, and see how do you personally affect this team. What could you say, here are my superpowers. These are the things that I bring to the team. And this is what I find is so effective with this, is that your conversations are completely changed when you start talking about this. As a team leader, when I can say, hey, this is something that I struggle with and that you are good at this. And that just makes us be able to name the specific thing of what I'm either good at or deficient at. And I'm able to actually move into a conversation where the other person doesn't feel like I'm talking down to them because they're not good at something. They've already tested on this and their personality kind of shows this. And they're like, yeah, I am lacking some strength in this area that you have. But because I don't have that same strength, I also have other strengths that you don't have. So it becomes this give and take kind of relationship that every strength has a concomitant weakness. And so if I don't have what you have, I got something that you don't and that you need me. And so it creates great conversations that are so much more productive in a team than the ones where like the leader has to pretend like they're great at everything. Maybe they're experienced at everything, but they've not got the personality traits that are going to quickly solve every problem perfectly the way somebody might do with the personality trait that just makes them stronger than you are in a particular situation. So after you examine yourself in that situation, what are the team powers? What's the team good at? So start thinking about that. Look at the pattern of your team. Like, look, we've got all these traits, high and low, covered on our team. Then you got a team that's got really well-balanced superpowers. You got one that's clustered up in one area where like we're all extroverts, so we're always going to be optimistic. We've got no neuroticism. We might experience danger things without any warning. So those are things you have to kind of keep in mind of who you are as a team. And maybe you need to bring in somebody else, or maybe you just need to be aware of that. So examine the team and see what the team superpowers are and how they're laid out on that chart that you're looking at. Have a good discussion about that. And you as a leader are going to be able to lead better because you know what the layout of your team is. You're going to have to kind of work with this. Have this sheet in front of you a lot so that you can engage with each individual well, and that you can engage with your team as a whole well. Okay. What are the team weaknesses? So you go through there and you see the things that you're lacking. What are the things it might be that there's one person that is not really with everyone else? There could be conflicts. Or that one person could feel misunderstood and left out. And we're going to have to try to work really hard to include them because what they bring to the table is going to be powerful, but they're only going to have one voice to bring that thing. And what if it's one person who's really agreeable and the rest aren't. And that agreeable person's going to want to go along with the crowd. So bring that person in. Give them the space to speak into your team's life so that you can fortify your weaknesses by listening to the individual who is the only person on your team who might have that particular strength. So you get where we're going with this? Strengths, weaknesses, kind of do a nice study of where you stand as a team and how your different personality traits will affect. We have a workforce engagement test that is helpful for testing your teams to see how well they are engaged in the workforce. This is a good indication of how well you as a leader or you as a team are engaging with each person's personality. So this is a tool that you could use. You can talk to us more. There's more about it on our VP Culture website about how to use this test to engage with your workforce and see how they're doing. So the goal of all of this is that people will feel valued. We've talked about this before. It's the engagement of the individual with the team, and we'll talk about next time with the community and how their personalities are interacting. And when people's personalities are interacting well, people feel valued. So that's the formula that we're trying to work for. And this is a powerful way to really engage with people. Let's look at some of the science behind this. Now, Gallup has done a lot of research, and if we engage with people's strengths, leading to their strengths rather than to their weakness. Now, we've seen that every person has weaknesses. And you as a leader, you as somebody who relates with them, even like your brothers, your sisters, your spouse, you're going to see their weaknesses. But if you constantly harp on their weaknesses, you're going to miss that person constantly. And that other person is going to be constantly undervalued because you're constantly looking at what they're not rather than who they are. If you lead them to who they are, you're going to have positive effects where you're going to see 8% more productive and six times more engaged as an employee in the relationship with their team and with their team leader. So these are powerful tools to engage with the strengths, not their weaknesses, or to engage even in a positive way with their weaknesses. Like we said, we can have a discussion of like, hey, this is something I can't see. My behaviors don't tend towards this. And, oh, this person over here can help me. Boom, you've got relationships that are growing. You're working with each other to strengthen each other as a team. So it can be a very positive thing if you're leading to strengths. The science says that only 1 in 3 managers are actually leading towards strengths. Most of them are picking on having those annual meetings or performance reviews. They're saying, these are the things you're not doing. Rather than look at all the great things that you produced, all the great things that your personality brings to the table. Let's try to maximize that even more. That's the way to encourage people. And 1 in 5 employees says that I'm not given all the opportunities to really maximize my strengths. So if you as a leader never knew that this person was really good at these things, you might never really engage with them in ways that would push them to their maximum strengths. You're missing out as a team with people's massive strengths, massive abilities to do things within your team and within your organization. So there are 4 steps that are named by Gallup that help. You're basically going to help them name it, and then claim, and then aim, and then range. So basically you're helping people say, hey, this is your personality. Let's talk about it. Let's name that. And then let's help guide you and direct you in a way that will more powerfully utilize your strengths or more powerfully work with another person who has strengths that you don't have. And so that's what all the arranging means, giving people the right position, the right tasks on your team to prioritize those with the personality traits that will most likely be effective in solving those problems well. So you can see if we do this as managers and as leaders, we're going to really help our teams out a lot. So how teams mix, predicting the team outcomes and the team dynamics and success. So one of the ways that you need to use that chart is to really sit down and figure out how you're going to be effective as a team. So are you going to do a change effort that's involving new things? So which personality traits are going to help move the team towards adopting those new team things? Which personalities are going to kind of come in behind and solidify those new processes as something that's helpful and engaging in routine, whereas other people who might not, after it becomes routine, might peel off and have a tendency to not want to do routines. So you're going to help people see the dynamics, how you're going to be perceiving things as a team, how individuals on your team are going to have different perceptions, and how you as a team leader are going to have to really engage with the people to help them see how they're going to interact and do this effectively as a team leader. It's a great opportunity to have these kind of discussions. And when you do, it really ignites your team in a powerful way that no other kind of engagement can. So personality science can really help you with your team dynamics and your success and change efforts and maintenance efforts and whatever you're trying to do with your team. Think about it through the personality lens, and then think about it through the lens of how all the personalities interact. Now, here are some key dynamics that you need to look for on those charts. Now, when you see those personalities that are really high and really low on the charts, they're going to be on the what I call the extreme ends of things. So those people are going to have harder time maintaining perspective of others because they're way on the edges of the chart, very, very unique. So be mindful of that. Do you have a bunch of people? Is your team very heavily weighted to some particular perspective because of their personalities? Remember, it distorts how you see things. So your whole team can double down, and everyone's perspectives on things are going to double down in an area. The opposite of that is that they're going to agree. They're going to get along. They're going to all see things the same way. Like, of course, this is the way to do things. Of course, that's the way things should be done. Unfortunately, that same team can miss things. So people that have very similar teams are going to be very agreeable teams. They're going to get along well. They're all going to understand each other, and the chemistry is going to feel great. There's not going to be much dissonance at all. Your dissimilar teams, though, they're the ones that are going to maybe be more generative in terms of like they're going to have a better holistic picture of things. You're going to have better dialogues about how things should be or could be or how you should do things, but there's going to be more friction. So do you have a team that's going to be a little bit more inherently friction, or a team that's a little bit more cohesively run? Now, it doesn't have to be friction all the time. My wife and I have very similar personalities in most areas. So that's a difficulty that we have to share. And so we're aware of that. And when we do that well, we can actually do very well in most of the situations that we interact with. Now, let's look at our last piece here, the group questions. All right. So first of all, take the personality quiz, and can you name all 5 factors and 10 subtraits? Can you remember your personality scores? So there's a personality quiz I think there's a PDF, or we have one online on the learning module that you're in now. So take the quiz. Have you learned all the 5 factors? Do you need to go back and maybe review what some of the subtraits are on one of the factors? Did you pass the quiz? So take some time to do that now as a group. Next question. How has studying personality affected your outlook on yourself? Talk about that as a group. How has it changed your personal outlook? Question number 3. How has studying personality affected your work relationships? What's the dynamic of the change there? Okay, so those are the questions that we have for this section, and that is the end of the team personality section. So that's lesson number 8 in personality science. And again, the whole goal of this is to help people feel valued, creating a culture where everyone feels valued. Understanding the personality and the dynamics of your personalities in a team as a whole, collectively, is going to be huge. And you as a leader and you as a team to be able to work together effectively. This is a super powerful tool that will lead you to understanding yourselves and each other and leading each other towards awesomeness in your pursuit of creating a valuing people culture. So it's lesson 8, and I hope you join us next time with lesson number 9, the final lesson in VP Culture Personality Science.